you look down in this module, you'll see a couple spreadsheets that you can download. And what I want to do is just walk you through these right now. The first one is from my good friends at BooksKeep. They're one of the co-authors of Profit First, which is a really good book that you should check out. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a really good program that you could do. But as you're setting your goals here, we talked about a lot of financial stuff in this last module. But as you're setting your goals, you're going to want to know, like, what do I need to do to achieve my goal? I'm looking for freedom here. That's why it's called the Freedom Ticket. And I need to make X number of dollars per year. How many products do I need to actually do that? How much should I be selling to actually do that? And this spreadsheet is a really quick, easy way to just get a ballpark idea. Now, the numbers and your results may vary, but this will at least give you a goal to reach for and something to strive for. So when you open up this one called BooksKeep, it's called the Owner Pay Calculator is the name of the file if you're looking for the file. There's only 3 things you got to enter on here. And you see here they have some reference points for profitability. They're basically saying that at these different levels of sales, this is kind of like the average level of profit. Your results may vary completely, but this is just, remember, this is just for ballparking. They're saying this is how much they're telling you to actually pay yourself a little bit of money. So from the day one, start taking a little bit of cash. You're going to have some taxes and you're going to have some operating expenses. So they kind of just put some basic numbers in here just to ballpark it to make an educated guess. So the first thing you want to do is you want to come down here and determine your tier. So at step 1, it says identify your profit tier. So you're going to enter one of these letters from A through F on this. So if my real revenue range is, let's say, $1 million bucks. That's D right here, $1 million to $5 million. I'm going to enter a D right there. And then what's my desired personal income? So maybe, want you to pay my mortgage, to pay for my kids, to pay for whatever it is that your minimum monthly nut is. Let's say it's $5,000 a month in expenses for you to live. You want a little bit extra to put into some savings and to take maybe a trip or something. So let's say I want to make $80,000 a year. So you put in $80,000 is my target income, my annual target income. And then what's your business gross profit margin? So you're not going to know this if you're just starting out. But remember what I said, if you're doing private label, you should be shooting for a 20% or higher. So I'm going to go ahead and put 20% right here as my profit margin. And if you come down here and you scroll down to step 4, it shows me what I've entered. And so basically to achieve this, for me to make $80,000 a year with these estimates of percentages of cost and expenses and so forth, I need to do about $4 million a year in sales, total gross sales on Amazon, for me to take $80,000 out. My cost of goods and inventory are going to be take a huge chunk of that, about $3.2 million of it. And so my real revenue is going to be about $800,000. And so what it shows you here on the profits, and this is me taking a small salary. Now you could take a bigger salary and you could change these numbers. So you could say that, instead of the profit of 10%, you can open this chart up and you could change that to 20% if you want. But this is just what they recommend is you only take about 10% out. Remember I said earlier that you want to keep rolling money in because if you can sustain.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, từ Thailand Thêm, từ chương Go Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
Paying this at a lower salary for 2 or 3 years, when you go to sell this company, you're going to have grown much higher. You're going to be at a much better valuation, and that's when you're going to get your big payday, just like what Scott's going to talk about if you watch his module, and what I talk about in the exit, giving you some ideas about exit. That's where your massive payday comes. So if you can do this at a cheaper rate, and maybe you've kept your real job and you're just doing this on the side, or maybe you're just living below your means for a little while, and then have that big payday, and then go out there and live an amazing life. But this will basically show you what you need. So to earn $80,000, you need to generate about $800. And so with a gross margin, profit margin 20, I need about $4 million bucks in total top line sales. Now you can come in here and play with this. If I only need to make $50,000 a year, and say my gross margin is, I'm better at this. I get 25% gross margin. Then I can come down here, and now I only need to hit $2 million a year. So now I'm like, okay, this is maybe more doable. 4 million sounds a little bit too much of a stretch for me. That sounds like too big of a number, but I think I could do 2 million. So out of 2 million, now I need to be looking for products and making sure all my math and everything I do, all the software I buy, all the expenses, the people I hire, everything stays inside this gross margin. And I'm only taking 50 grand a year out in the beginning, and that should be able to grow this thing. And at this number, with a real revenue of 500,000, if I can maintain that, when I go to sell that, I should get about a 2.5 to 4 multiple probably on that. So for a couple years, I'm just going to tough it up and just take 50 grand a year out and reinvest everything else. But on paper, I'm showing $500,000 of potential profit. When the buyer comes in and looks at that, they're going to give me like 1.2 million or $2 million, somewhere in that range, depending on a number of factors, for this business. So if it took me 3 years to do that, instead of me taking a lot more money right here, I'm taking less money. But in essence, if I got, let's say, the 1.2 million bucks, that's an extra 400 grand a year. So really, on paper, I'm making 450 grand a year for the 3 years of work. I'm just not putting it all in my pocket right away. If I put it all in my pocket right away, it's going to affect everything else on here. And it's going to mean when I go to sell it, it's not as much. So if you can buck it up and do this for a few years, the big payday is coming down the road. And you can see how this math works. And it's a different way of thinking than what most people show you. So this spreadsheet here, play around with this from some different scenarios and hit what you think you can do. And hopefully this will give you some guidance and help you achieve these goals much quicker than you thought you could. Now take a look at the other spreadsheet and we'll go through that here in just a second.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, tuần theo link thêm, tuần chơi Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.